All right, morning, everybody. Happy race day. I know this video only is going to have a few hours of being relevant, of being live. It's probably only going to get 100 views or so. But for the 100 of you who are watching, just know I really appreciate it. So figured I had some time a little bit later than I wanted to. I actually did already post this spreadsheet up on Twitter. So you'll see we got some people checking it out already. It's at Fast Cars FM. But wanted to try to end the year strong, make sure we get some videos and some analysis out there for you guys. So we got the Homestead race, second race of the round of 8. It's another great opportunity for these playoff drivers to lock themselves into the Phoenix race. Kyle Larson has already done that with winning last weekend. So he doesn't have to worry, even if he wrecks out this race and the next race, he's good to go for Phoenix. But we have another DFS slate, another prize, up for grab per se with if you're able to secure that takedown. So let's kind of go through the driver list here. So we got Larson, Hamlin, Reddick, Byron, Bell, and Truex in the expensive range. So quite a strong handful of drivers there. For me, even though you could play the narrative, hey, this team's going to take it easy. They're putting all their focus into Phoenix. I don't really care. I think Kyle Larson is still going to be the driver to beat today. Starts fifth, gives you a little bit of place differential upside, if you even want to call it that. But the main reason you're playing Kyle Larson today is you think he has the ability to get out front, lead laps. And that's why I'm playing Kyle Larson. He's he even said in an interview, hey, I want to go to, doesn't matter that I'm locked in. I want to go to Homestead, Miami, and I want to dominate. He's looking forward to this track. It's a track that suits his driving style, being able to run right by the fence. Oops, I'm not sure what that happened there, but so I like him. I'm going to have a ton of Kyle Larson today. Denny Hamlin is another driver I like a lot too. He gives you some place differential upside starting 11th. He had a pretty fast car. His green flag speeds, though, across basically all the intermediate tracks this year have been inside the top 10. So I really like pairing Larson and Hamlin together. Some more tournament options I think you can get to are going to be Reddick and Byron. Reddick is another driver that comes to mind when you think of drivers who have the ability to run up high, kind of run the fence. So maybe Reddick is able to get out front and lead you some laps or pick up some fast laps. I just think, for me, it's probably, I don't see, maybe there's a scenario where both Larson and Reddick work, but for me, I'm just going to, play Larson and try to build around him. William Byron looks to be about a 7th place car. My fear is kind of like last weekend. He just falls a little short, just kind of stalls out in this range. So he should still score well. I just don't know if he has the ability or the car to get out front and lead you some laps to earn those additional points, which you're going to need if you're playing a driver in the 10K range. Christopher Bell needed one more lap last weekend. He would have been able to advance himself into the championship fell just a tad short. Starts 13th. I like Hamlin better if you can pay up for Hamlin, but if you need, if you can't afford Hamlin, you need some price discounts, some savings there. I don't mind Bell. I think both of them have similar upside. I just like Hamlin better than Bell. Now, Truex is interesting. He does start on the pole. His practice times were decent. I mean, they were inside the top 10, but especially with this car, we know clean air is king. The concern with Truex is A, he's probably going to carry a lot of ownership, and B, his just performance as of late has not been good. So the concern is he would start first, he's high owned and loses the lead early or has issues and runs, 10th to 11th all day long. Or maybe this is the weekend that Truex works out. So for me, I'm going to come in a little under the field on Truex. I think Truex is probably a good cash games option as your early lap leader. But for tournaments, I'm going to try to pivot a little bit, try to get a little bit different. Really like Kyle Busch and Ryan Blaney today, mainly just going off of their practice time. So Blaney actually had the fastest lap average on the long run, slightly even better than Larson. Wasn't really able to put down a good qualifying effort, but maybe he gives you some place differential upside in that regard. And same with Kyle Busch. I think he gives you some good place differential upside too, kind of similar to Denny Hamlin. He gives you a little bit more place differential upside. I think Hamlin's probably going to have a stronger car, can probably finish a little bit higher than Kyle Busch, but I mean, their practice times were similar. So I think Kyle Busch is a nice pivot option, again, to give you some price savings off of, Denny Hamlin, for example. So I really like Kyle Busch and Blaney. I'm probably going to be playing them quite a bit today. Not getting the Chase Elliott. Practice times just were not really that good. Chastain, kind of a similar play to William Byron in my regard. I think he just, in my opinion, I should say, I think he just kind of gets stalls out around where he starts, which may or may not work out, but not really getting too much Chastain. Another driver I'm not getting a lot of is Christopher Buescher. The opportunistic mindset would be, hey, Brad Keselowski had a rocket chip in practice and qualifying. They're just going to take that setup and put it on Buescher's car. Maybe Buescher is able to run better. And there were some indicators showing that maybe that was the case based off of how slow Buescher was in practice. And he did pick up some time in qualifying. But just the way that this team unloaded just has me concerned, and I don't feel good plugging him into our lineups. Joey Logano, I don't want to say he's a free square by any means, but he's going to carry a lot of ownership. He wrecked out in practice, so he is going to a backup car, was not able to take a qualifying run, starts a DFL. The backup car probably is not going to be as good as the primary car was, obviously. But the primary car did have practice times inside the top 10. I think a top 20 finish is easily doable for Logano. Really like Keselowski. Again, probably a little bit more of a tournament play, but all of his metrics were basically top 5, across the board in practice, backed it up in qualifying. It's only a matter of time before Brad Keselowski gets his first win. I wouldn't be shocked to see him, maintain that running position, earn some fast laps. Maybe he can get lucky, get out front, lead you some laps. So I like his upside there for a tournament standpoint for $8,300. Kevin Harvick, his career is coming to an end here very shortly. They got the race named after him today. He's throwing it back to his 2014 championship paint scheme, which I think is pretty cool that they're able to do some stuff like that. But strictly from a DFS standpoint, he's okay. Not really great in practice or qualifying. The encouraging thing, though, is we know that Kevin Harvick and his team is able to improve on the car, get better as the race goes on, and they should be able to advance their position by the time the checkered flag falls. Now, Bubba Wallace is going to be a driver I'm also going to be high on. Probably a little bit more of a tournament play as well. He's a nice contrarian, lap leader option. If you aren't playing Truex, he's probably going to see a lot less ownership than Truex as well. The nice thing about Bubba Wallace is he gives you a significant price discount off of Martin Truex Jr. So Bubba Wallace is pretty good. Starts on the front row. We actually had better practice times than Martin Truex Jr. as well. So I don't mind being a little bit aggressive. You gotta have to be aggressive if you want to try to take down a tournament, try to play the ownership game, try to find your pivot points. And I'm not going to go crazy by any means playing Bubba Wallace, but I'm probably going to be over the field on Bubba Wallace today. Ty Gibbs is a driver I'm not really getting to. Was able to turn it on for qualifying, but looking at his practice times, pretty far off. Alex Bowman is another driver I like. Again, I'm going to keep, playing these plays that maybe aren't seeing as much ownership, or I think just have good upside. So Bowman starts 12th, meaning that, hey, his car is pretty good. He also had some good times in practice. So, I think he runs around where he starts, but maybe he can get lucky and kind of get a top 8. So it gives you a little bit of place differential upside, some good finishing points as well. I just think he gives you a lot of value for $7,700, and not a lot of people are probably going to land on him in that range. It kind of changes your lineup construction a little bit. Not really getting the Suarez or Jones, not really much to say there. AJ Allmendinger, I think, should be able to move forward a handful of spots. I don't love him by any means, but if you're looking for someone in this range, I think he's a nice option. Probably going to come in lower owned than Eric Almirola. I have Eric Almirola as high. I'm not super high on Eric Almirola, but starting this deep, he should easily be able to move forward and hit value for you. John Hunter Nemechek probably starts around or finishes around where he starts. I think Stenhouse is a good option. Really quick in practice, not a great qualifying effort, but everything in practice says that this team should be able to have speed today, be able to move forward. McDowell and Dillon not really getting to, just based off of their starting positions. And then I also like Chase Briscoe and Ryan Preece. I think maybe it'll give you a little bit of a discount off Eric Almirola if you can't afford him. Ryan Preece basically starts right next to Eric Almirola, and actually had better practice times than Eric Almirola too. So I'd actually prefer Ryan Preece over Eric Almirola for those reasons. But I think Chase Briscoe is a fine option too. I mean, SHR has not been good outside of Kevin Harvick, so I understand being hesitant to play those drivers. They're probably going to run in the 20s for most of the day, but maybe they can take advantage of, the end of the race and get you a top 15 finish. After that, I think Haley, Cindric, Burton, and Ty Dillon would probably be my favorite plays to go to. Ty actually had decent long run speed. Was 23rd in the 10-lap average. Most likely he's going to get trapped a lap down, but starting this deep in the field, he should easily be able to move forward. And then other than that, I think Burton, based off of his upside, is a decent play. I don't mind Cindric. I don't mind Haley, and I'm not really getting to anyone else this low on the slate. I don't really think you have to go this low on the slate either. So it's pretty wide open. I'm going to be building a lot of different, variations, a lot of different drivers, pairings, trios together. Probably going to max out some of the 20 contests today. But yeah, that's the Cup Series video. Hopefully that's helpful. If it was, dropping a like on the video is always appreciated. Commenting, this always helps with the algorithm too. And if for any reason, if you're new here, subscribing to the channel is greatly appreciated too. So best of luck today, and we will catch you next weekend for Martinsville.